Hi there! Thanks for joining us on this adventure where we take on renovating our house. We're going to be doing a few projects around the house, starting with renovating our restrooms. We're going to be changing out the tubs and the toilets for the restrooms and updating the look overall. That way it looks a little bit more modern. We're going to encounter a few issues along the way, but we're going to learn as we go. Come join us on this adventure. There's always more to do.
So first thing that we needed to do was demo, and we've seen some videos that we had to cut some drywall to make it easy to pull out the existing acrylic tub. We also were going to have to cut the tub, which was a little bit scary, but like most things when you do it the first time, it's scary. We also decided to remove the toilet to give ourselves a little bit more room. This is also one of the first times that we get to use some of these new tools we just got. They work quite well.
So cut the corner first because I don't think there'll be electrical in that corner.
Yeah, cut the corner first. We'll put down here.
Yeah, and you said to cut at an angle, so
Good night.
you too.
Cutting the acrylic tub was actually easier than we expected, and it came out relatively smoothly once we cut it out.
So we were able to knock down one of the sides already of the tub, so that's pretty exciting. It's a little surreal to see the inside of your house. You usually don't see it this way unless you're doing a construction phase. And so this is our first time doing this, so it's exciting, nerve-wracking. Looking forward to finishing though. You know what I need to check? What's that? Okay. Well, I'm gonna continue working over here. Still got two sides and a tub to go.
We did have to break some more of the drywall in order for us to be able to take the tub insert out. After doing the back panel, the side panels were relatively easy since we already had experience cutting both the acrylic and the drywall. Unfortunately, taking out the drain assembly was a little hard, so we actually had to cut around it and come back to it the next day. It was enough to get the tub out. We had some trouble fitting the tub into the space. We moved it in several different ways, different angles, trying to get it to fit, but we kept struggling. We kept jamming it into spots and weren't able to move it from those spots. Even though this video sped up, we were here for a good long time, at least about an hour. We realized that we had to also cut this pipe, which was the vent for the drainage. Fortunate, it was relatively easy and not something very difficult. We started getting the hang of putting in the tub in its place, and since that pipe was now moved, it went in a lot easier. But we realized that the bracing was getting in the way. We actually had to modify the tub because the brace on the corner was running into another pipe. That pipe, however, we did not want to move since we could not see where it was coming from. So we modified the tub. Later on, we ended up adding supports. We also installed some on the side where we cut the brace.
Wow. Can't believe we did it. Yata!
We're always really happy when a plan comes together. In order to make the panels flush with the bathtub, we needed to add some spacing boards. Here's where we ran into another problem. We couldn't get the drain to fit just right. The drain kept wanting to go sideways and cross-thread itself, so we had some trouble getting it to sit correctly. After a lot of deliberation and trial and error, we realized that the threads themselves must be either gunked up or damaged. This is where we figured out that there was a problem with the threads. We ended up cleaning it. It didn't show on camera, but we actually ended up having to clear out each of the threads on the PVC section of this drain. Once we did that, everything fit much better. Installing the panels was relatively easy. It was simply a matter of connecting them like a giant puzzle and attaching them to the wall. We ran into issue when we were trying to install the top panel. We didn't have enough drywall cuts for it to slide into the slot available for it, so we ended up having to cut more of the drywall. Yeah, in an effort to try to save some drywall, we ended up wasting more time. In the end, it should have been where we cut more and then just repair it later, since we were going to have to anyway. So we had to install that piece as a bracer, but it also served as a top and extended the shelf from the window.
Alright, so we just did 2 days worth of work on something that should have taken like 2 to 4 hours. We ran into a lot of little problems and such. Had to make 3 or 4 Lowe's runs. This project was pretty intimidating starting off, but now once we cut it open, like we mentioned, it was not so bad. And I honestly thought it was going to go a lot faster than it did, because once we took it off, it was a lot of just similar things to what we've done before. But because of all the problems we ran into, it took a lot longer than we were hoping that it was going to take. Pretty exhausted for all the little problems that we were facing. I'm glad that we were able to figure it out, and it just took a lot of tedious work to do it. So it was very tiring up to get to this point. But as you can see, we have the tub and we have the back wall. Now we got to add the side walls. This wall over here is going to be troublesome though. We're going to have to drill some holes into the panels, so that's going to be a little bit daunting. But we still have to get rid of some more drywall because it's actually just enough space for it. So we're going to tackle that tomorrow. Hopefully finish up this project. But yeah, it's always an adventure with something like this. And this is the first time we're doing it, so onwards we go.
certain issues when we tried to do the side panels, as we didn't cut enough drywall.
Tried controlling a little bit more of the dust this time. It ended up working out okay. It didn't capture everything, but it was better. It's an old vacuum cleaner anyway. We ended up having to add another bracer here for the side panel to be able to have support at the top.
And one more time for good measure. We were trying to be a little conservative, just a little bit too much, unfortunately. Since it was our first time installing one of these enclosures, we underestimated how much drywall we needed to remove. We learned for the second one though. So once we drilled the holes, we tried to put the panel into place, but we just kept running into just a little bit of issues with the fit. It took us several tries. And then Johnny had to file the holes just a little bit to nudge it into place. With that though, that was the scariest part about this. Once you cut the acrylic, there's no going back. But once we saw that it fit, it was nice to see that it worked out. We also, of course, made sure to add silicone on all the seams. And upgraded the spout. This is some of the first time that we're cutting drywall as well, and we're trying the score and snap technique. Took a little bit of practice to get it going, but after a while, kind of started getting the hang of it. Here we're prepping the drywall for all of the mudding that we're going to be doing. We tried this self-adhesive taping. Worked out really well actually. I really am a fan of it. Saved a lot of time not having to pre-mud.
I agree, and it also made it a lot less messy. There was less mess to deal with because we only had to mud after you've already put all the tape.
After a few coats of drywall, then sanding in between, and some touch-ups, the drywall was complete.
After using the shower for a little while, we saw that the hot water wasn't working, so we ended up actually having to change out the cartridge too. The cartridge was stuck on there, so we ended up having to use one of those cartridge pullers. Here we are setting up for the second bathroom. We ended up doing 2 tubs, but we took all the lessons from the first one and it made this one much faster.
cutting the drywall a little bit more than we need. Figured out how to put the bathtub in less tries.
And because of all the lessons learned, this took us way less time overall. And we were much more confident with the drywalling the second time, since we had already done it in the other bathroom. We also removed the light fixtures to make sure that we painted everywhere.
We painted the light fixture as well to update it to the brushed nickel look that the bathroom fixtures were going to have.
We didn't record ourselves painting the majority of the room, but we painted the entire restroom. We also took the time to replace the toilets, adding in new hardware, so everything was nice and fresh. After that, most of the bathroom is done. We still need some odds and ends as we're finishing up the renovations in the rest of the house. And this is how they turned out. We're quite happy with the way they look, and they're ready to be used. That's it for this project, but we still have a lot of work left, so join us next time, because there's always more to do. Thanks for watching!